Your life isn't falling apart because you picked the wrong thing. It's falling apart because you keep trying to pick the perfect thing. You know the scene. It's quiet. Your phone is face down like a sleeping animal. Your laptop is open to a tab jungle. Job listings, graduate programs, how to know if you're in love, apartments you can't afford, videos titled like they're trying to save your soul in 8 minutes. Your body is here, but your mind is sprinting in circles like it's being chased, not by a monster, by possibility. And every possibility looks like a door with a whole different version of you living behind it, a version you can almost touch. So you freeze, because choosing one door feels like murdering all the other versions. That's the modern curse, not a lack of opportunity, too much maybe, too many could, too many fig trees. The fig tree theory isn't really about fruit. It's about a nervous system that can't digest infinite menus. It's about how freedom, when it gets too wide, stops feeling like air and starts feeling like vertigo. Like standing on the edge of a cliff made out of your own potential, realizing the drop is not failure, the drop is time. The feeling you call choice paralysis isn't laziness. It's not that you're broken. It's your brain trying to keep you safe in a world that turned your entire future into a scrolling feed. Society tells you, you can be anything, but it forgets the fine print. And if you don't become the right thing, you will feel like you wasted your only life. So you end up living like you're in a supermarket at midnight, starving, staring at 12 brands of the same cereal, terrified of buying the wrong box. Meanwhile, your stomach is eating itself. That dizziness is real. It's biological, it's psychological. In the simplest spiritual sense, your insides don't know where home is, because home requires a decision. Let's say it out loud. This isn't about choosing. This is about loss. Every choice is a funeral, quiet, invisible, socially denied. You don't just pick a career. You bury 5 others. You don't just date one person. You close the door on countless what-if timelines. And your brain, your sweet, anxious little accountant, does the math. It opens a spreadsheet in your chest and starts calculating regret before anything even happens. It's running simulations all day, trying to avoid a future pain that doesn't exist yet. So you hover in limbo because limbo feels like control. But limbo is not neutral. Limbo is a slow leak. Here's the first absolution you need. You're not weak for feeling this. You're reacting normally to a world that turned identity into a high-stakes product. In older times, people didn't optimize their lives the way you do. Not because they were wiser, but because the menu was smaller. The path was narrower. Was it limiting? Sure. But it spared you the modern sickness, the belief that the perfect life is one click away, and you're failing if you don't find it. Now you're told to build a personal brand, a perfect relationship, a meaningful career, a balanced lifestyle, and a face that looks good in unnatural light. That's not freedom. That's an endless audition. And your brain hates auditions because auditions mean judgment. So you turn life into research. You figure it out. You consume advice. You read threads. You watch videos. You make lists. You compare pros and cons like you're negotiating with a god. And the more information you gather, the more you feel like you still don't know. Because the truth is ugly. You can't think your way into a life. You can only live your way into a life. Choice paralysis is what happens when your mind tries to replace movement. It's a fake kind of progress, like jogging on a treadmill while the exit sign stays the same distance away. You're exhausted, but you're not going anywhere. You've probably felt it in dating. You're texting someone decent. They're kind, they're available, they don't play games. And instead of peace, you feel suspicion. You catch yourself scrolling through old matches, not because you want someone else, but because you're afraid you missed someone better. You're not craving love, you're craving certainty. And certainty doesn't exist, so you keep swiping. Meanwhile, the person in front of you becomes a placeholder, and you start treating their heart like a free trial you can cancel. You don't mean to. You're just trapped in a marketplace mentality. The system trained you to believe commitment is a bad financial decision. And then there's career. You stare at paths like they're train tracks. Money, meaning, prestige, freedom, stability. You try to choose the track that guarantees happiness. But happiness isn't a destination. It's a byproduct of being alive in a direction you can tolerate. So you stall at the station until the trains stop running. That's the fig tree. Branches heavy with fruit, and you starve because you can't pick which one deserves you. Here's the twist. It's not that you don't know what you want. It's that you know what you want will cost you something you're not ready to pay. Because choosing is accepting limits, and limits are terrifying in a culture that worships unlimited potential. Somewhere along the way, you got convinced your life must stay open. Open tabs, open options, open future. But an open door is also a draft. It lets the cold in. It never lets you settle. A closed door is not always a prison. Sometimes it's how you keep the heat. You want to keep every path available because you're afraid of becoming ordinary. So you keep your identity liquid, your plans vague, your commitments soft. You call it flexibility, but deep down it's fear wearing perfume. And the fear has a specific flavor: regret. Not regret like I messed up. Regret like I didn't become the version of me I was supposed to be. That's the modern religion. The God is your potential, and you're scared you'll disappoint it. You open your phone and see an old friend's engagement photos, then someone's promotion, then someone traveling, then someone starting a business, then someone looking annoyingly calm in a sunrise picture. Your brain doesn't think, good for them. Your brain thinks, that could have been me. And suddenly your life feels like a shopping cart you forgot to check out. You're not jealous of their lives. You're mourning the lives you didn't live. So you try to keep them all alive inside you. And that's the trap, because you can't carry a whole forest. You can't live 5 lives at once. But your mind keeps trying, and it breaks your legs trying to run in every direction. Here's another scene. You're sitting across from someone you could probably build something with. They're talking and you're nodding, but you're not fully there. You're running background programs. Do I feel enough? Could I do better? Am I settling? Should I end this now? You smile at the right moments. But inside, you're treating a human being like a decision tree. That's not romance. That's anxiety pretending to be standards, and your nervous system knows it. That's why your chest feels tight. That's why you don't sleep well after dates, even when they go fine. You don't feel heartbreak, you feel static. Now here's the third scene. You finally sit down to work on the thing you say you care about. The course, the portfolio, the application, the book, the side project. You open the document and stare at the blank page, and your brain whispers, if you start this, you'll find out if you're actually good. So you check your phone instead. Not because you're addicted, because you're protecting your fantasy self from evidence. A blank page can still become a masterpiece. A started page can become average. And average feels like death to someone who thinks their worth is supposed to be exceptional. This is the deeper layer. Choice paralysis isn't just fear of picking wrong. It's fear of finding out you're not the main character you promised yourself you'd be. So you hide in potential. Potential is a warm blanket. It says one day. One day is safe, one day can't fail. But life doesn't pay rent in one day. Life wants payment in actions. Freedom in your body can feel like being dropped into an ocean with no shore. People scream, you can swim anywhere. And you're like, cool, where is land? You don't need more water, you need direction. And direction always disappoints something. That's why you feel dizzy. Your inner compass is spinning because you're trying to make a choice that avoids pain. But pain is part of choosing. Every real path has a price tag, not money. Sacrifice. The sacrifice of other futures, the sacrifice of the fantasy. And because you haven't accepted that sacrifice, you keep waiting for a choice that feels painless. It won't come. So what do? How do you stop starving under the fig tree without becoming a robot who just picks something? You don't need motivation. You need strategy. You need to treat your brain like a frightened animal, not a rational machine. First shift, downgrade the choice. Make it smaller than your ego wants it to be. Your brain freezes because it thinks you're choosing your entire identity forever. That's too big. Instead, choose seasons, not life sentences. A career move doesn't have to be what I do forever. It can be what I do for the next 18 months. A relationship doesn't have to be my soulmate. It can be a person I choose to know deeply on purpose until I have evidence otherwise. Your nervous system can handle seasons. It can't handle infinity. Second shift, stop choosing from the mind, choose from the body's data. Your thoughts are loud, but they're not always honest. Your body is quieter, but it keeps receipts. Notice what makes you feel more solid, not high, solid. Notice what makes you sleep better. Notice what makes you breathe lower in your belly instead of up in your throat. Your real wants are often boring. They feel like relief, and relief is underrated because it doesn't look impressive online. Third shift, Limit the menu on purpose. If you go to a restaurant with a menu the size of a novel, the food is usually trash. You need constraints to get quality. Same with a life. Delete options. Unsubscribe from sources that keep you comparing. Stop using other people's highlight reels as a measuring tape for your insides. Create artificial walls so your brain stops wandering. If dating apps make you treat people like products, take a break. If job boards make you spiral, set a time window. If social media turns your life into a constant audition, you don't need more mindset, you need less input. Attention hygiene is not aesthetic, it's survival. Because your attention is the paint your life is made from. If you spill it everywhere, you don't have enough left to make anything real. Now here's a truth that tastes like metal. You will never outsmart regret. If you choose, you'll regret the roads you didn't take. If you don't choose, you'll regret your life evaporating while you stood there thinking. So the goal is not no regret. The goal is choosing the regret you can respect. There's a clean kind of regret that says, I picked something, I built something, I became someone. And there's a dirty regret that says, I kept everything open until everything rotted. You're not drowning because you have no options. You're drowning because you keep trying to keep all options alive at the same time. You're treating your future like a museum exhibit, every version of you preserved behind glass. But life is not a museum. Life is a kitchen. If you don't cook the ingredients, they spoil. Your talent spoils, your love spoils, your courage spoils, your body spoils. And the worst part is you'll still be standing there, hungry, calling it being careful. You're not being careful. You're being haunted by a fantasy of perfection that doesn't even want you back. So yes, choose a door, not because it's guaranteed, because you're tired of living in the hallway. And one more thing, this is important. You don't find yourself by thinking. You find yourself by committing, then watching who shows up. Identity isn't discovered like a hidden treasure. It's forged like metal. Heat, pressure, repetition. That means the first version of your choice will feel wrong, clumsy, underwhelming, like new shoes that haven't molded to your feet yet. That's not a sign you chose wrong, that's a sign you're human. We live in a culture that expects instant chemistry with everything. Instant passion, instant certainty, instant purpose. But real things aren't instant. Real things are grown, slowly, awkwardly, with doubt, with mornings where you hate it and do it anyway. That's not failure. That's the cost of making a life instead of fantasizing about one. The reason you're paralyzed isn't just fear of picking wrong. It's fear of being responsible for your own story. Because as long as you don't choose, you can blame timing, circumstances, the economy. Some of those are real, they matter. But there's a hidden comfort in staying stuck. You never have to face the raw fact that your life is yours. The second you choose, you stop being a victim of possibilities, and you become the author of consequences. And authors don't get to say, it just happened. Authors have to live with the plot. So choose something small today. Not the whole future, just a direction. Send the email. Apply to one thing, say no to one distraction. Go on one date and actually be there. Or be alone and actually be alone. No scrolling, no browsing, no keeping the door cracked open for imaginary people. Practice closing doors without turning it into tragedy. And when your brain screams, but what if there was something better? Answer it like a calm adult. Maybe. But I'm done starving. Because the fig tree isn't evil. The fruit isn't poisonous. The tragedy is thinking you can taste every life without biting into one. So here's the question I want to leave you with. Which future are you secretly hoping will save you, so you can keep avoiding the one you have to build?